Okay, so we're here to talk about the Susan G. Komen Fund. Based off the coursework for the week, we are following along about 6 months after the Planned Parenthood incident that happened, and we're going to give recommendations for 4 major groups within the organization: leadership, the marketing team, communications, and the digital team. So I'm going to kick this off with the leadership team. So this is our leadership recommendations for the Komen Fund's executive team, as well as their board members. So just a quick overview of the recommendations. We set up some goals and how we're going to measure the success. Our 4 major goals start out with quelling concerns of our partner organizations, managing, mitigating all the personal scrutiny. This is sort of newfound scrutiny coming directly toward the individuals in leadership, setting up organization-wide refocus on the core values that the fund supports, and setting up communication, planning, and response standards that we need to communicate throughout the organization. And this is just a few ways we're going to measure success. We want to make them very measurable. So we're going to maintain or increase funding and support from our partners, eliminate conversations about individuals within the organization, instead get those conversations back on the fund itself. We want to increase conversations about cancer awareness and our main mission. And then we also want to develop formal crisis plans, get the organization on Slack, and task teams with risk analysis. Okay, so short-term recommendations. We want to go directly to the partner organizations, explain the decision that we made, apologize for the distractions, don't apologize for the decisions, but apologize for distractions, and reaffirm our commitment to the main cause. We really want to keep these organizations on our side, keep the funding coming in. We want to issue a statement via social channels, highlighting cancer research as a nonpartisan issue. We want this to come from leadership. We don't want to engage with comments that are directly levied at the individuals in leadership yet. We want to monitor them, but we do not want to engage yet. And we also want to keep our personal social channels focused on cancer awareness, reiterating the belief in the organization and what we're trying to accomplish. Moving on to midterm recommendations, we want to start sharing stories about the positive work that Komen is doing. We think that leadership, individuals in leadership need to start really talking about the good things that Komen are doing, trying to change the story away from the scandal. We want to share stories about other organizations who follow suit, who also are doing great work in cancer research, making ourselves an authority on the issue and really getting people to believe in what we're talking about. And then we want to start becoming a little more accessible. We can start responding to posts and having individuals in leadership respond to posts, but only when they're productive. We don't want to give in to the trolls. We don't want to address things that are blatant lies. But we do want to start responding to people and driving those conversations, showing that we're open to talking about it. We said we could, maybe host an AMA on Reddit. That's something that's very controllable. You can answer questions that you want to answer, but still be able to engage in conversations directly. And then, connect with influencers, having people in leadership positions talk to reporters, bloggers, people who are going to tell unbiased stories, who we know have high integrity. And then in the long term, we want to continue sharing those stories about the great work that people are doing. Keep that an ongoing process. We want to create standardized action plans. This is something where in the future, we really want to have a very set template of, before we make a decision, like funding or not funding for Planned Parenthood, we want to have a risk evaluation process to know exactly what the risks are, what we could do, and that should come from leadership. And then we want to task the entire organization with improving our internal communication as well as our external communication. And that's things like creating standard communication chains and adopting Slack company-wide